flick to there. So I flick to.
Small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Just before I had that handed up, it's an awkward start as usual. But it's gonna be a fun one today. We're here to talk about Guillermo del Toro movies. Obviously, I'm assuming that neither Chad nor Eric has seen Frankenstein because I know there's some limited sessions in theaters, but I'm there. Everyone has busy lives, but I'm going. I've got a great opportunity. We've got Chad here. Chad, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. This is one of those things. I think Guillermo del Toro is a great director. He like really knows how to just make films the practical way and stuff like that. You know, he's just really good. But he does have some duds, and I know that some films in his filmography are pretty divisive. So I'm honestly just fascinated to find out like where everyone falls on certain films. So this is gonna be interesting.
I've also got Eric here. Eric, how's it going?
Much like every time we have a Peter Jackson rank him and Malcolm has to be there, if there's a Guillermo del Toro ranking, I have to be there. To quote the guy, it's because I'm Mexican. A famous quote of his, mostly because he says in Spanish, porque soy mexicano. Out of the three, they are called the three amigos, Iñárritu, Cuarón, and del Toro. I don't think del Toro has made my favorite movies out of the three, but he's the guy who will be my best friend out of the three of them because he seems like the nicest guy and he has very similar sensibilities to the things I like. I don't even dislike the last movie I have the movie I have on Last Place. I don't even dislike it that much, but I have my reasons. I'm pretty sure everyone has the same movie, but we'll see. But this should be interesting. I'm very excited to talk about Del Toro.
I managed to finish off all my blind spots that are not that have been released, so to speak. Obviously, Frankenstein is still a blind spot, but I have to wait till it comes out on Netflix. But yeah, how this works, because we've got 12 things. We've already got the short list of 12, so we're going to do an extended sort of ranking, the final ranking part. So we're each going to vote on what movie we want at number 12. And then we'll talk about that movie, then we move on to 11 and so on. In the event of a three-way tie, I've got a special guest list on side because it's Gullermo del Toro. I really want to get Anthony Tisdale on, but unfortunately he's busy running across America with Jacoby and I don't know if they're running across America, but I know they are running. But Chad, what movie do you have at number 12?
Well, I mean, Eric seemed to think that we were all going to be unanimous on this. I'm interested to see if we are. I have Mimic.
Eric, what do you have for number 12?
What a surprise, Mimic.
I've actually got The Devil's Backbone. But Mimic is.
We're gonna have words.
Yeah.
But Mimic is going to be at number 12. Chad, what are your thoughts about Mimic?
Honestly, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I just remember like thinking it was going to be kind of interesting. I was wondering if it like was going to be like kind of like, Giallo-esque because it was like a giant bug creature that, sorry about the background noise, but I thought it was like going to be like, this giant like bug creature that was like walking around like a person and stuff like that. And it just was nowhere near that interesting and just ended up being like just a lot of just kind of nonsense in my opinion. It just like, I don't know, I just really wasn't fascinated by anything that was going on. It was just a bug movie. And Guillermo del Toro's like, he's such a good like auteur director that I just don't think any of that like shone through his direction to this movie. Like you could show this movie to someone, have them guess who directed it. No one would say Guillermo del Toro directed this movie. Apparently there is a director's cut that's better, but I don't think I've seen that version. So, and even then, I don't know how you get much better than this anyways. So even if it's serviceable, I still think it'd probably be number 12. So
Um, Eric, what do you say? What do you think about Mimic?
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be anything outside Mimic. Not that Mimic is. I didn't think it was an outright terrible movie when I first saw it a couple years ago. But even Guillermo del Toro himself says this is his worst movie. He doesn't even count it. Like he does mention it. I made Mimic and it was a horrible experience. I was watching an interview of his recently that he had terrible stuff happen to him in the late '90s. I don't know if you know the story, but his father was kidnapped by the Mexican cartel here in Mexico. He had to pay a lot of money. James Cameron actually lent him the money to pay for that. And he says making Mimic with the Weinstein brothers was worse than that. And I mean, he's Mexican, so he can joke about it. That's the kind of joke we're talking about. But Mimic, I didn't think it was terrible. There's some good people in the cast. I think Josh Brolin is pretty good. F. Murray Abraham. I'm forgetting the rest. But this is the movie that to me is his worst movie because it's the one that feels the least like him. Like anybody else could have made this movie. Like this is the one that it gets asked in trivia games. Oh, who directed Mimic? And nobody knows, except if you're a big Guillermo Toro fan, because this doesn't feel like a Guillermo Toro movie overall. There are pieces right there, like there's some stuff about like a priest. I remember there's some Mexican kid in the movie. That's the kind of stuff he wanted to do, and he wasn't allowed. He had to make it more American, and this put him out of making American movies for a while until like late to like 5 years later. So this is worse usually. But let's see. Let's hear Malcolm.
I actually really enjoyed Mimic, but because it didn't feel like a typical Guillermo del Toro movie. Because I thought the story was fascinating. And I'm when it comes to like animal attack movies, I'm a sucker for them. And yeah, and so yeah, definitely enjoyed this a lot more than you guys. But as I said, like there wasn't really a movie that I don't like on the list. But yeah, I just thought this was a very fascinating movie. I really thought liked the attacks, and well, then I think it was a lot of fun. I don't know what version I saw, but whether it's theatrical cut or director's or the director's cut is whatever one I found in some illegal ways because it wasn't legally streaming anywhere for me. um, but and I'm just gonna put it out there. Mimic was not number 12 on Avenue Tisdale's list either. It wasn't as high as me, but he had it at number 11. So he's got another movie he hates more than Mimic. So, but Eric, what do you have for number 11?
Oh, so from 11 to 7, all the movies in that order, I like the same. I have Hellboy 2, The Golden Army by chance, but we'll see.
I'm sticking with Devil's Backbone. Chad.
I didn't go with Hellboy 2 for this. I went with another superhero-esque movie or comic book movie, Blade 2 for 11.
So we do have a three-way tie. We've got The Devil's Backbone, we've got Blade 2, and we've got Hellboy 2. The lowest one that Anthony has on out of those three is Blade 2. So Blade 2 is going to end up at number 11.
I like how you're doing this. This is great. Let Anthony break the tie. That's great.
Well, it was Anthony that came up with the ideas. He said, I can send you a list. You can use this for tie breaks if you want.
Fair enough. I like that.
But so Blade 2 is going to be at number 11. But Eric, what are your thoughts about Blade 2?
Yeah, I wasn't ready to talk about Blade 2 yet, but his three superhero movies, I kind of like the same. I mean, a very rough around the edges character with his issues. He's kind of a monster. This is the kind of superheroes he would make. And Blade 2, I just think, especially after watching the first one, I usually watch them back to back. I like the first one a lot too. But this one has a lot more personality for me. It has a lot of Guillermo Toro's things, like creature design. Like there's some amazing makeup effects in this one. Obviously, Wesley Snipes is great as usual. Ron Perlman is in this one, and he's great. Norman Reedus, I don't know why Chris Christopherson is back, but he's back, and a lot of things. This is such a fun movie. I didn't have it as low as this, but I don't mind it because, as I said, like a lot of the movies from here to number 6, I guess, are around the same. I like them as much as the other ones. It's just Mimic. I don't even dislike it. Mimic, I gave it like 3 stars. It's not a bad movie. This one's 3.5, I guess, 4.
Yeah, Blade 2 is probably my favorite out of the Blade movies. Actually, I think this is a lot of fun, and I think it's a really good sort of Blade movie. And Wesley Snipes is always great as Blade, and it kind of made me interested to see what would have happened if Del Toro had done Blade Trinity as well as this one, on how if it would have made it any better. But I think Blade 2 is a lot of fun. And yeah, we're probably never going to see the Blade with Mahershala Ali ever at this point. I know some people still think it's going to happen, but I think it's not going to happen. But Chad, what do you think about Blade 2?
Yeah, Mimic is the only one that I really just didn't really get anything out of. Blade 2, I also agree. I do think I like Blade 2 a little bit more, and it is because of, Del Toro's in there somewhere. Even though it feels like it's not purely a Del Toro kind of like Mimic, even though it does feel more like a Del Toro than Mimic does. But ultimately I just think like the Blade franchise, well, I guess we won't talk about the third one, but the 2 Blade movies are still, even though they're fun and they're good in certain ways, they're fun to watch. They're also, I feel like, very messy. Sorry, buddy. Very messy and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the plot is always just kind of very. I don't know. I don't know if it makes like a ton of sense. It's not always that fun to watch and stuff. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a pure Del Toro movie. So yeah, I've always just thought that was one of the weakest of his filmography.
Yeah, and yeah, just so and Anthony had it at number 5 on his list. But we're going to move on to number 10. I get the feeling I'm probably going to be keeping this on the board for a while, but I'm keeping it on the board because Devil's Backbone. Chad, what do you have for number 10?
I'm actually between 2 here. I'm gonna go with. No, I'll go with what I had. I'm gonna go with Pacific Rim.
And Eric, what do you have for 10?
I was gonna stick with H2GA.
But we've got another three-way tie: Pacific Rim, Hellboy 2, and Devil's Backbone. And the lowest of those 3 that Anthony has is Pacific Rim.
Interesting. We're the same wavelength, me and Tisdale.
Pacific Rim is Tisdale's number 12. It's the movie he hates
Whoa! Oh,
more than
wow.
Mimic.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Pacific Rim. I did start rewatching it last night, but I paused it halfway just because I had to go to bed. But I remember enjoying this movie a bit, and it's one of those ones like I think it was a fascinating, like when it comes to giant monster movies and stuff. I think it was a very fascinating one, and yeah, and well, it sucks that he didn't get to do the sequel. It was someone else. Because I think at that time there was the whole thing that he was going to direct the Hobbits and all that as well. But yeah, I think Pacific Rim is still relatively solid. I remember enjoying it enough. But Chad, what do you have? What do you think about Pacific Rim?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just one of those where it's really not like my style of movie. Like, I don't normally enjoy most of the big giant monster type things, the kaiju type stuff. There's some of them I like Godzilla -1 and things like that. I feel like if I watch more Godzilla movies, there's probably a lot more that I would like. Eric actually turned me on to the what's the other one? What's the other one? Gamera, thanks. Which are pretty fun, but also kind of weird. But yeah, Pacific Rim it's just another one. It's just a pattern with me where if I don't feel like it's like purely Del Toro, like I think Blade 2 is a little more Del Toro than Pacific Rim. But I think Pacific Rim is probably a slightly better movie than Blade 2. But still, it's just kind of like when I think of Del Toro, like I want to like really feel his stamp on movies, and so as we keep going, my list, you'll start to see more of his influence on a lot more of the stuff, and the kind of things that you'll see like patterns that he does as a director to put into movies. And Pacific Rim, a good movie that I feel like a lot of people like. It's just one that just doesn't feel like a Del Toro movie to me, and I just don't even remember that much. It's been a while since I've seen it, so.
And Eric, what do you think about Pacific Rim?
Yeah, I actually had it at number 10 if I ever moved on from the other the movie I have on the list. But I agree with a lot of the sentiments Chad is saying. Like, it is the other one that doesn't feel as much as a Del Toro movie. I think this one I remember not liking as much when I was growing up. I was in middle school when this one came out in theaters, and I didn't like it as much then. And now more recently, I've been watching a lot more kaiju movies, so I enjoy this one a bit more. I don't know. The main characters in this one don't really resonate with me. I think they are fine. Like, I think Charlie Hunnam is great. I'm forgetting the other person's name who's the lead. Idris Elba, of course, is great. The battles are great. I wish I had seen this one in theaters, and this one is a lot better than Uprising. So at the very least, I enjoyed this movie more than the other one. That other one sucks.
But yeah, moving on, Chad, what do you have for number 9?
Number 9. I don't know if this one's controversial or not. This got a Best Picture nomination. Nightmare Alley. I have a 9.
You have it 9.
Oh yeah, the same. No, I mean Hellboy too. You muted?
My mic went off.
You had your
Headset.
board, but anyway, yeah.
But if they've got a further time, it might end up being the 20th.
Yeah,
but
I don't think we're ever going to agree from now on.
I mean, we may agree. There will be a point where we'll agree. I'm pretty sure.
Once we get to like number 3 and we have The Devil's Backbone and you still have it as your last, that's when we're going to agree.
But the lowest that Anthony has is actually Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, I figure.
He has it at exactly number 9. But Chad, what are your thoughts about Nightmare Alley?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this one does feel like a Del Toro movie. So that's what's good about it. Like, it's got circus stuff. Like, the dude loves himself a circus. So it's got that in it. It's about I think what they call a geek, like the carnival geek, and about someone, basically turning into that, like, kind of going on a downward spiral kind of a deal. Which I think is cool. I think like that's something that Del Toro would make. Like, it feels like a movie that he would make, and he did. And it's an adaptation of a older movie. I haven't seen the original movie, so I don't know really how it compares. But I just felt like this one is just really, really long. And I think the ending is really cool. I think a lot of stuff in the beginning is really cool. I don't love when the guy bites the head off the chicken or whatever. I don't like that, but that's also a very Del Toro, I feel like, thing to do. But yeah, there's just so much I think in the middle that I'm just like, it just kind of drones on. Even though there is some good character stuff in there, and it's weird. I'm always very conflicted on this one when I watch it. I'm like, there's some good stuff in this, but it just didn't need to be that long. So yeah.
Eric, what are your thoughts about Nightmare Alley?
Yeah, I don't have it that far ahead from here. I think I have it at 8. Yeah, this one is pretty long. Yeah, magnificent cast. I think very well acted. Very good atmosphere. I haven't seen the original. I don't know what's the real difference, but I might want to see it. Now that I think about it, this is probably the one I wouldn't rewatch as soon as maybe the other ones, but maybe more than Mimic and Pacific Rim, I guess. So that very appropriate. Number 9. But it's a good movie. I guess this is the one he released after The Shape of Water, so it's very, I guess, different from that type of idea. He had a blank check and he decided to go with this. Sure, that's fine. It's a good movie. But
I will say real quick, the production design, he always nails that. So yeah, he crushed that here too.
Yeah, this is one I actually did rewatch for this because I haven't seen it since theaters. No, I actually don't think I actually watched it in theaters. I think I had to wait till anyway, I haven't seen it since it first came out. Yeah, I still really enjoyed the rewatch. I thought it was a lot of fun. And yeah, funnily enough, it still is my personal number 9 as well. And like where it actually ended up. It's just I thought it was fascinating. I thought the acting is great in it, and yeah. But Eric, what do you have for number 8?
I'm sticking with Hellboy too.
This might come to a surprise to everyone, but The Devil's Backbone. But Chad, what do you have?
This is interesting because I actually have the original Hellboy.
Fair enough.
So the lowest one that Anthony has out of the 3 is the original Hellboy.
Am I Anthony Tisdale? Maybe I am. No, I don't run that much, though.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
Maybe
Just
I
saying.
probably should. You're right.
But no, Anthony had Hellboy at number 6. But Eric, what are your thoughts about the original Hellboy?
Yeah, I like. Even though I've been pushing for Hellboy 2 to be number 11, in hindsight, I might have changed for Pacific Rim and Nightmare Alley now that I remember more about those movies, and I would have pushed more over here these Hellboy movies, because obviously this one also have amazing production design and makeup effects. Ron Perlman was he just has the face. I'm very glad they met each other and decided that, you know what, we're gonna make Hellboy because you look the most like him. It's gonna be the least expensive makeup ever. You look kind of like him. But he's fantastic in the role. This one I like a little bit more than the second one, mostly because of the emotional stuff. I relate to Hellboy a lot more in this. This is an introduction to this world, so I'm very fascinated when I watch this movie, how much I enjoy the world and all that. I don't have any complaints about it. I need to see it more because I didn't grow up with these ones, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it a lot. And yeah, Hellboy 8 seems fine, I guess. I like this one better than the second, but we'll talk about the second eventually, I guess. At some point, we have to.
Yeah, no, I watched the first Hellboy for the first time. I think it was last year. It was either last year or earlier this year when I watched it. And yeah, I think it's a really good sort of superhero movie. I think Ron Perlman is great as Hellboy, and it was even good seeing Selma Blair as well. I think she was really good. And funny enough, we'll get to it when we get to it, but I actually like the emotional stuff in Hellboy 2 more than this one. But I think that's one of those things I do think that's where Del Toro shines like is it's doing emotional scenes in movies. We'll get to some other ones that are very similar when it comes to emotional moments. But Chad, what are your thoughts about the first Hellboy?
Yeah, I actually really like the entire Hellboy franchise. I kind of wish we would have gotten a third one. Can it still happen? Maybe. I hope. That could be cool. Ron Perlman's a little old, maybe, but I do think Ron Perlman is like perfect in that role. I think like you get Doug Jones is great in it. Selma Blair. You guys are naming like all the best names. Everyone's so good in both of these. I think I just like the second one just slightly more, and I don't even really have that big of a reason other than like I don't know. I think like sometimes with sequels, you get to, and I know we're talking about the first one, but sometimes sequels, I think you get to go a little bit bigger, and so I feel like that for that. This one, it's just a solid, like really good dark horror movie, horror like comic book movie, and I just I think that is like he was the perfect person to direct a Hellboy movie. I mean, as you saw, they tried to remake it, and it apparently didn't work. I never saw that one. And this one just has so much style to it. The Del Toro, like a torch style that, I just love so much, and bringing so much humanity to Hellboy, and, like Eric was talking about, the emotionality of it, and everything. And yeah, I just think it's a really solid movie, that I like quite a bit. But yeah, I guess I like so many others slightly more or a lot more. But Hellboy, you can tell, like we get into my number 8, and I'm already like, this is where it starts getting really good for me.
They actually tried rebooting it twice, because you had the 2019 one, and you had the Crooked Man one recently as well. But I don't think we're ever getting the third Hellboy. I think they've rebooted it too much times that the third one just won't do anything. But anyway, moving on to number 7. I'm sticking with Devil's Backbone. Chad, what do you have for 7?
Okay, I actually have Kronos at 7.
And Eric, what do you have for 7?
I still have Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
So out of the 3, the Devil's Backbone is the one that everybody has the lowest.
Oh man,
I think that's
okay,
like a number 4 or 3, I'm guessing.
it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah,
Sure.
he's got Devil's Backbone at number 4.
Yeah.
The other two,
That's where I have Devil's Backbone, number 4.
but yeah, and as well, those ones like I didn't hate Devil's Backbone. I just found it I just found it really boring, and I'm not a big foreign language movie person as it is, but it's like, and it's one of those ones I don't even think the dialogue would have helped me here. I just thought the story, like I could follow the story enough. Because the version I watched did not have the subtitles for whatever reason, but it's is one of the risks of doing that. But it's just one of those ones like I kind of got where it was going. I thought it was fine. Like I thought it was fine, but I just one of those movies that didn't really gel with me too much. But Chad, what are your thoughts about the Devil's Backbone?
that is just a little. It's just a little funny that Malcolm's like, I didn't understand what was going on, but I got the gist of it.
No wonder you have it at 12.
I am interested to see if Malcolm watches it with the subtitles again, and maybe likes it a little more. But yeah, I don't know. I like because it's just is it a trilogy? Because I know it's like Pan's Labyrinth, Devil's Backbone, but is there a third one, or is it just those two? Because I know
He
it's
considers it. I was watching the special features of this one. Not to jump too ahead. He considered these two like not a duology, but 1A and 1B, I guess. Kronos is the one that gets packaged with the 3 of them, but Kronos is not thematically about the same thing. But Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth, he does consider like a duology, I guess.
Spanish Civil War. It's like stories surrounding the Spanish Civil War. And I don't know. This one is just about like a haunting in a school, but like I just love when Del Toro does ghosts, because I feel like he just really understands the pain of what like ghosts would go through, and like why they are left around him. I just watched Casper again, which is like the first movie I ever saw in the theater, but I just watched it again, and it's got like the thing, they're like, unfinished business kind of a deal. And you forget, like that's the thing with ghosts. That's why they stay back, because they don't proceed to the great beyond or whatever, because they have unfinished business. And Del Toro really gets the pain and like the footprint of like what's actually lingering around is this raw emotion. I feel like Devil's Backbone is a lot like that. It's not, I don't know, like the novelty of ghosts, but it's just about like the realness of them. He makes ghosts feel kind of real. So for the Devil's Backbone, I just really liked the story of it. I just thought it was really intense at times, especially like taking place in a school. I thought maybe it wouldn't be as much intense, but he has a thing where he'll take like kind of like childhood kind of things and then ramp them up to be more like adults and stuff. So I don't know. There's um like an affair type of story going on in it too. There's a lot going on, and I thought it was all worked fit like together really well. Um, and the scares were actually really cool too in it. So I think it's a pretty damn good horror movie. And I have it on Criterion, so I really like this one. I had it at 4, but it's not that much lower at 7. So
Eric, what do you have for number 7?
Yeah, I also have this
What,
one on the
what do you put?
Criterion.
Yeah, what do you put?
I just saw it yesterday again. I have seen it before. This is the first time I've seen it with the special features of the Criterion Collection and all that. I was bouncing between this one being either my number 1 or my number 2. So this is very disappointing. This is not a foreign language movie to me. This is my language. I understand it perfectly. not my accent. It's still I'm not Spanish. I'm Mexican, of course. This one he considers himself. He considers this one his first movie because obviously Chronos he made with a very low budget. Mimic he kind of hated doing. So this is the one that actually starts his ascent, I guess. This is the one that gets him Blade and Hellboy movies, I guess. But this is his pure vision, very well, I guess, backed up by. This one is actually produced by Pedro Almodovar, obviously a very famous Spanish director. That's very fun fact to hear behind the scenes. Just amazing character design. The way that the ghost Santi looks is just fantastic. This is very striking imagery. This movie has a lot of that. Like this one has such amazing images, like the bomb in the middle of the courtyard, the body inside I don't know, it's not a pool, but something like that. The blood of his blood floating like in the air, and it just is a very sad movie. This one and Pan's Labyrinth are about kind of the same thing, obviously set in the same time frame. Well, this one is before the Spanish Civil War actually ends, and the other one is just like in the middle of the dictatorship by that time, like much more inside the fascism dictatorship. And this one is just very sad, very simple. It's a very simple fairy tale like way to deal with heavy subjects. And I think when his movies are simple, more emotionally effective, that's how I like them the most. That's why this one is around my number 1 and number 2. But just so many amazing things I could talk about it all day. But sure, number 7. You should really watch it with subtitles. I'm gonna send you my disc. I'm guessing you're missing a bit.
No, it's one of those ones like I don't even know if I want to revisit this. I wasn't that interested in the story. It wasn't interesting enough for me to want to revisit. I'm not a big ghost story guy. Like there's some that I do really like. I like Casper was also my first foray into my first movie I saw at the cinemas too. But it's just and I've never been a big like when it comes to ghost or paranormal type movies like. I've never been that much of a fan of it. Like, but
So
for
you better have
more of my
Crimson Peak
talk,
at number
more
11.
talks about
I'm
paranormal
kidding.
stuff. Go back to our ranking of the Conjuring franchise.
Yeah.
But Chad, what do you have at 6?
I'm trying to figure out if I should go with what I said before. I don't know what the hell else is going to end up being at number 6 if I say Kronos. So I'll go ahead and no, I like Hellboy 2 too much. I'll stick with Kronos and see what happens.
Eric, what do you have at 6?
I'm sticking with Hellboy 2. I erase it and then I write it again.
What is Malcolm going to rate though?
Well, we've actually got an agreement.
Oh,
Kronos.
no. Yeah,
Okay.
I figure.
All right, fair.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was sitting here going, don't fucking change it. I'd already made the banner figure. I'd already made the banner figure you're going to stick with it because there was going to be the next one up. Look, out of all the foreign language ones in which I like, because this is similar in a way to Devil's Backbone. This is one that I actually think I will revisit with subtitles and stuff. Well, yeah, there was some English parts in it throughout this one, but this is one of those ones that I thought the story was really interesting. This like watch or timepiece which can still like age from people and stuff. I thought the whole story and stuff. I think it was a very interesting way. But I thought this was a really interesting story. But it's just one of those ones like I like the other ones a lot more. And yeah. But Che, what are your thoughts about Kronos?
Yeah, I don't have much. I mean, I think this is an interesting movie. I like how it's like kind of like a different take on vampires, and it's like, to show like his like slow transition is really cool. I don't. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember like a ton from it, but I do remember liking it. But yeah, it's also like what his first feature, so it's just very like low budget. And everything, but you can already tell, even though like he would make other movies that we say um, later that don't really have his style. I feel like this one has his style, and has the weird little uh, bug contraption that turns him into a vampire or whatever. Um, that's a very Del Toro thing to have. So it it's really cool. I like it, but it's right around the middle for me, so I just threw it at number 7, and now it'll be number 6.
And Eric, what are your thoughts about Kronos?
Yeah, I also have this one on the Criterion. I bought them at a discount. I recommend buying them at 50%. This is not a Criterion ad. Never mind. Yeah, Kronos. This is the only movie he made in Mexico. That's a shame he hasn't come back, but he has his issues. I would do the same, I guess, if that happened to me. Also, the government is not really supportive of making films. That's another story. I can talk all day about the Kronos and its importance in Mexican film history. This is often in the top 10 Mexican movies, certainly of the last century, I guess. And yeah, this movie is very rough around the edges. Obviously, the budget is not there, but a lot of his heart is in the right place at this point. I think I forgot to say this about Devil's Backbone. He gets really amazing performances from kids. These 3 movies are his Spanish-speaking movies, I guess, have that right on point. And also the lead character played by Federico Lupi, who's also in Devil's Backbone. He's fantastic, I guess. Like this is very different from like a ghost story. This is not very political film as opposed to the other Spanish-speaking movies he has made. But this one is very much about addiction. Like it's not even subtle about it. You can see him licking the floor in the bathroom. That's pretty much all you need to know. What is it about and how he deals with it. I think it's a very creative way to do it. I think that even though he doesn't have the budget to make big stuff, the small Kronos device they made for this movie is really amazing. Ron Perlman, I think he's fantastic in this one. Speaking Spanish, I appreciate the fact that he knows Spanish, so would like to meet him very much. He's very funny in this one. Something that should be said about I don't remember how many of the movies we talk about have this, but he has many amazing villains in his movies, and he's great as Angel de la Guardia, which means a guardian angel, which I think is very funny personally, but that's something. I also have it on number 6, but many different movies in the whole around place. I don't mind Kronos at number 6, but I like it a lot more every time I see it again.
But we've got 5 movies left. We've got Pinocchio, we've got Hellboy 2, we've got Shape, we've got Crimson Peak, and we've got Pan's Labyrinth. Eric, what movie do you have at number 5?
I don't know why I keep erasing it. I still have Hellboy 2.
This might be slightly controversial, but it is what it is. Pan's Labyrinth. Chad, what do you have at 5?
Guess we know what type Malcolm doesn't like.
I'm guessing you don't like half of West Side Story. I'm kidding. I'm not accusing you of anything.
Or he doesn't like Spain, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
But,
if it ends
doesn't
up
like
at 5,
Mexico either.
I'll talk about when we get to it.
All right, fair enough.
It's
Yeah, I
actually
have.
not for what you may think.
I'm actually going to agree with Eric now and put Hellboy 2. 5 is a great spot for it, I think, actually.
But Eric, what are your thoughts about Hellboy 2?
Yeah, don't let the fact that I've been trying to push it at number 11 for a while. I really like this movie. Every time I watch this one, which is very funny considering your pick for this placement. Last time I saw this one, I watched it after Pan's Labyrinth. I think Pan's Labyrinth is a much more concise movie, and the movie he made after is this one. And this one has such like even more amazing character and production design than the first one. That like the budget went up in this one, and you can tell like just amazing stuff all around. I just think this one, even though it's not as long as, for example, Nightmare Alley, I think it's for me personally, it's a bit overstuffed, but I only seen it the one time. If I see it more, I'm guessing I'm going to love it a lot more. Still amazing performances all around. But I remember not really connecting with this one last time I saw it. But I'm willing to give it a chance because this is one I've seen is a favorite among many people in the community, which I don't even disagree. As I said, 11 movies out of this list, I wouldn't be surprised if you love. If you love Mimic, you're very weird. I'm kidding. It doesn't matter. No, Hellboy at 5 seems nice. I like that.
Yeah, like Hellboy 2, I actually watched it for the first time for this, and I thought it was a really good like follow up, and I think he definitely ramped like the threat just seemed more, and this is one of those I really like the emotional stuff as well with Hellboy and Liz sort of not really knowing on where the relationship was and all that, just having arguments and stuff. And I just thought it was like that kind of like stuff. I think it did really well. Like, and it's just one that I didn't expect to love as much as I did, but I think it's a lot of fun. And yeah, but Chad, what do you say about Hellboy 2?
Yeah, I mean, kind of very similar to things that I was saying about the first one. I think it's a really good comic book movie. Fits Guillermo del Toro very well. All the characters are great. A lot of them return here, and yeah, I just love that it's bigger. They go to like more locations. I love the fantastical element of it. Um, I mean, I guess the first one's still fantastical, but like the fantasy like kind of aspect that they add to it, I think is really cool. And honestly, I don't like really remember too much, but I just remember watching Hellboy 2 and just going, "That's a damn good movie," kind of a deal. But I mean, Hellboy 1 as well, but yeah, just a little bit more Hellboy 2, and I'm so glad that it made it in the top 5. I think that's actually really cool.
And with that, we're going to move on to number 4. Eric, what do you have for number 4?
I have The Shape of Water.
I'm sticking with Pan's Labyrinth. Chad.
Shoot. You know what? I'm sorry, I didn't have my list up. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Eric here because I don't want to risk Pan's Labyrinth going to 4. And
Please
Shape of
stop
Water
doing
was
more
at my
Pan's
3,
Labyrinth.
so
Okay.
Look, you clearly don't have any faith in Tisdale's rankings. I'm just
yeah,
saying
that's
that
fair. I keep, okay.
you didn't have to worry about that happening.
But what I'm saying is, I'm doing for 4. I had Shape of Water at 3, so it's not like it's like a huge.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, no,
wasn't taking it from
I know,
1 and
I
putting it
know.
in 4. So
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying you didn't have to worry about Pan's Labyrinth ending up at 4. That's what I was getting at. But Eric, what are your thoughts about The Shape of Water?
Yeah, The Shape of Water is pretty good. That's the Oscar-winning exception, as we like to call it in the Guillermo del Toro ranking. I think this is. I think he has 4 movies that are very much fairy tale adjacent. This being one of them. Even though I have it last on those 4 movies, I guess if I have to compare them in a way, I think this is a really fantastically made movie. Everyone is fantastic in this movie, of course. Sally Hawkins is great. Doug Jones is great. Michael Stuhlbarg always surprises me in this movie. He has he appears often. He's the scientist, of course. I really like his performance. I don't know why. I don't know. I know why he's great. I don't know. Out of the ones that deal with similar themes, even though this is the more obviously more in the romantic side of those things, and this is weird because I really like this movie. I don't come back as often as this one after seeing like 2 or 3 times when it came out in theaters. And I still enjoy it a lot. I don't know. This is a very weird movie. I always have to talk about it in the context that this won an Oscar, which is fantastic, I guess. I'm always fascinated that he won for this one. Number 4 seems nice for it. This is pretty good. I don't know what else to say. I have my issues, but I need to watch it again to be proper with what I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, this is one that if I had more time, I would have gone back to rewatch it. But I do remember really loving this movie, and it's And I think there's just one of those fascinating, like fairy tale kind of stories there. And I mean, realistically, when you think about it, it's kind of basically a Little Mermaid type story. Um, but yeah, I mean, Doug Jones has always been one of those people that kind of impresses me with like how he can become so many different things when he's doing these kind of creatures and stuff. I think he's just really fascinating. I would have loved to meet him if I could, but I missed out on a chance when he was in New Zealand earlier this year for a convention. Yeah. But Ted, what are your thoughts about The Shape of Water?
My bad. Sorry. You mean Star of Absentia? My Doug Jones. No, but yeah, The Shape of Water. I do think is really great. I mean, it won Best Picture. It's one of those where I'm not sure when the time that I on my Oscar show when I get to talk about The Shape of Water, if it's going to be my number one. I probably not from that year, but I do think it was deserving of like a Best Picture like nomination. Um, I really like it. It is a kind of fish out of water story, right? And a love story, and I do like how like these like unlikely people meet and like form like this romance. Even though it is very weird and very unconventional, I think that's really cool that a movie like this was praised to that level. I think that's really cool. And I don't really have a lot of gripes with it. I think the performances are great, especially what's his face? I think you guys already mentioned his name.
Michael Stuhlbarg or Michael
Yeah,
Shannon?
Shannon, thank you. Shannon, who's incredible in that. I'm sure Stolberg was great too. But even uh, what's the other from Paddington?
That's Sally
She's great
Hawkins.
too. Yes, yeah, she's great too. Thanks, Eric. But yeah, there's one part that Richard Jenkins is fantastic in the movie. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about his character. That's like one of my favorite parts of the movie, actually. But I will say the cat death bugs me every time. So I always like will skip over that part. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I was liking you too, movie. I was liking you, and then you made me not like you anymore." But it's whatever. I I'm probably the only person who really screams over that, in this community. But I don't know. But yeah, I do think the movie's very good. I'm glad it's at number 4. It was just at my number 3. So number 4, it's fine.
Uh, um, but moving on to number 3, I'm sticking with Pan's Labyrinth. Chad, what do you have for number 3?
Not Pan's Labyrinth. I have Pinocchio.
And Eric, what do you have for number 3?
Then I have Crimson Peak.
And out of the 3, the lowest one is Crimson Peak. So Crimson Peak is going to be at 3. But yeah, this is another one that I haven't seen for a while, and I've always wanted to revisit for ages. Maybe I will revisit at some stage this month, if I've got time. But yeah, Crimson Peak I remember really enjoying. And I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think Tom Hiddleston was great in the movie, and it's just one of those ones that I think a lot of people. I don't think this got the most favorable reception when it came out. I think a lot of people really didn't like it. But it's like, and I don't get it. I thought it was enjoyable. So yeah. But Chad, what are your thoughts about Crimson Peak?
Yeah, it actually took me a long time to watch Crimson Peak, because it came out, it had bad marketing, and it wasn't the movie that people thought it was going to be. I think it's kind of like in the same vein. Hey, buddy. Sorry. I think it's in the same vein. Hi, buddy. I think it's in the same vein as like, something like The Witch that came out. And people thought it was going to be like this big jump scare movie and stuff like that. Go figure. It turns out to be about a ghost movie about a bunch of ghosts being in pain and stuff like that. Kind of like a Devil's Backbone, kind of thing. So you can tell I really like the Devil's Backbone. I really like this. I really like it. Nope, that's my okay. Okay, you can put it in there. Um, I think this movie is actually really incredible. I saw it later and then was really surprised when I saw it because people like were not liking it. I was like, this movie's actually kind of brilliant. I love the patience that it takes before she actually gets to Crimson Peak, and then when she gets there, it's kind of like this big sprawling place. It's so epic. I love the color in it, the use of red and stuff. The fight scene at the end I think is really incredible. I love Mia Wasikowski, I think her name is. And it, I think she's really great. Tom Hiddleston, and the brother and sister having like this like kind of weird incestual kind of relationship is just very strange, but like it also adds just a really interesting kind of plot point to it. And I don't know, I really loved everything about this movie, and it is quite up there. It was my number 2 actually, so I'm glad it's at number 3. I was surprised that it made it to number 3 because I know normally people shit on the movie, and I think it's pretty great.
And Eric, what are your thoughts about Crimson Peak?
Yeah, I also want to share that I'm surprised it made it this high. I mean, I know Chat really likes it, so I have a backup over here. I said I also have it very high up there. Uh, my list is not loading, but I'm pretty sure it's like either 4 or 3, I guess. So I'm very happy with it. Number 3. This one actually grew up on me because I saw it when the first time when it came in theaters, and I enjoyed it, but I don't remember really digging it that much that time. But the more times I've seen it since then, I really like how it looks. Like this is just amazing looking movie overall. I just once in a while I really let myself get involved in the visuals of a movie. I mean, most of the times I guess because it's a visual medium, but still, Crimson Peak is just amazing to look at. I also get involved in the storyline. I now appreciate the more time we spend with the lead character before she gets there, as Shad mentioned. And I just think the vibes of this movie are my favorite type of ghost movie. I like a gothic ghost movie. I like this one. I like the others. I'm forgetting the other one. I really like. What's it called? There's a 60s movies, 1960s movie, right? Also set in like a gothic house with ghosts. I'm forgetting the name right now, which makes it seem like
Talking
like
about
it's much.
the Uninvited.
No, it's not The Uninvited, but it's the something. But whatever. Crimson Peak is fantastic. I'm not surprised. It's
The
the horror.
Haunting.
No, it's not The Haunting.
Okay.
There's another movie that has the same name also, but it's a foreign movie. It stars Deborah Kerr. You can look it up. It's great.
The Innocence.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, it is The Innocence.
That's like the Blind Manor type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie. Moving on. Crimson Peak. Great. Number 3. Fantastic. And I really like the movie.
Yeah.
I'm both blanking on the name. But there's another movie called The Innocence, and what's it called?
I just googled 1960s gothic horror movie with ghosts, and there was one of that, and The Haunting came up, and you already said it wasn't The Haunting. But I think we're going to we're down to again vote for number 1, but we're still going to talk about this number 2 as well. But I think I know where this is going to go. But just for formality's sake, Eric, what do you have for number 1?
I just wanted to write it, but you already knew it. It's Pan's Labyrinth.
For me, it's Pinocchio. Chad.
Yeah, Pinocchio's a solid choice, but Pan's Labyrinth for me.
Yep, but we'll get to about Pinocchio first. Chad, what are your thoughts about Pinocchio?
Yeah, Pinocchio. Wait, was this nominated for Best Picture or no? It was just like the songs and stuff.
No, just animated and the song.
Just animated. That's right. Not many animateds get nominated. That's right, huh? But I do think it's weird because this movie is really good, despite being like a story that we've seen so many times. I mean, this goes back to what, the 40s, Like 1940, I think, was the original Pinocchio, and even before that, it was a story before that in like Italy. So this is like going back so long, and yet we have Del Toro like in the 2020s, like I'm gonna remake this movie and bring even more depth to it. Like that in that original Pinocchio from Disney is actually amazing. So, seeing him kind of update it, but like ground it a little more and, add his total style to it, I think is fantastic. I'm actually convincing myself that I should have ranked it a little higher than I did, actually. So it makes sense that it's Malcolm's number one because, I just think this movie does have a lot of heart to it, a lot of like, emotional. To be honest, I think watching it right now because it has to do with the loss of a kid and stuff. I feel like it probably hit me a lot harder now than it did the first time I saw it. But I do think it is a really incredible movie. It's like animated so well. I love the songs, and the characters and all of that. And yeah, I just think like the style too of like how he did like the beyond and showing Pinocchio go into the beyond and returning and stuff is very Del Toro stuff to do. So, yeah, this movie is really great and I like it a lot. I also have it on Criterion, so I should revisit it and watch all of the stuff with it because I think it would be a great time.
And Eric, what are your thoughts about Pinocchio?
Yeah, I have it at number 3, so I'm not mad that it's a number 2, even though what I had at number 2, it's way, way back in the list. I'm gonna move on from that. But no, Pinocchio is great. It's a very good follow up to those type of stories. This also set like on the middle of fascist regime in Europe, but this one in Italy. Just amazing production design, character design. I need to see it a bit more, but I even had it ranked higher because it's just amazing movie. I need to see it more to know what else to talk about. But I'm not surprised at number one for somebody because it's such an amazing movie as well. I like it a lot, even though my grandma hates it. But my grandma hates weird movies, so I'm not surprised. That's a total different story. But great movie. Number 2 seems good for it.
Yeah, no, I really love Pinocchio. It was definitely the better Pinocchio movie that came out that year, which is not saying much because the other ones are not even close. But yeah, this is one that's like when I saw that Del Toro was doing Pinocchio, my first thought was, that's a weird choice, but let's see what happens. And look, it was different. It wasn't. It totally wasn't what I expected, but I thought it was just a really good version, and it's definitely one I'm going to go back to many times. But with that, we're going to move on to number one, which is Pan's Labyrinth. Eric, what are your thoughts about Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, I was fighting myself between this one and the other one. I had between number 1 and number 2. I'm not surprised this is number 1. I'm guessing this is if this is not Anthony's number 1, I would be surprised, but maybe number 2. Yeah, you can say it later, I guess, or now. Say it now. I'm kidding.
Well, I figured I'd given it away when I said earlier that that Chad didn't have to worry about Pan's Labyrinth ending up lower than this is number 1 as well. So
Yeah, I'm guessing this is the one that really put him on the map. Like just like for him to stand out this much with a foreign language movie, like this one was one of those movies that really made people realize we gotta nominate more movies for Best Picture. How this one didn't make it to Best Picture or foreign? Did this one make for? I don't remember if it made it to Best Picture and didn't made it to foreign language film. Whatever, it should have won a lot more than it won, but it was a strong year. 2006 is a good year. Just an amazing fairy tale type stories, also set in the middle of turmoil. Just the general guy is just one of those underrated, most despicable bad guys of all time. He's fantastic in the movie. I'm forgetting his name right now. The main character is also great. Uh, and I mean, Pan's Labyrinth, I really wanted to see it before watching this one to see properly if I like this one or Devil's Backbone, but I like them around the same. Just a very, very stunning movie to look at. There's nothing like this movie like ever. This is the one like, oh, this is the type of movie he makes, and For many people, he hasn't made anything better. For me personally, I don't think he has made anything better than this one. But it's not a that's not a bad thing about his other movies. His other movies are also great, but this one is just so amazing. Like it's just Pan's Labyrinth. I don't know what else to say. I really wish I had seen it before this one again, but because I need to see it more and more. But still,
To answer your question, Pan's Labyrinth was nominated for Best Foreign Language. It lost to The Lives of Others, a German movie. But it did win makeup, cinematography, and art direction, though. So it did win some Oscars that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, as I said at the start of the show, there isn't a Del Toro movie I don't like. I like them all to varying degrees. And this with Pan's Labyrinth, like this is one that I had watched earlier with subtitles. Like this is one I'd seen before. I was going to rewatch it for this, but I just once again just didn't have time to rewatch everything I want to, plus catching the first time watches as well. And look, I liked it. It was good. I really enjoyed it when it was in the fantasy world. I was really bored by the real life stuff that happened out there outside of it. It just wasn't that interesting to me. It was one of those movies that was really interesting when it went into the fantasy world with all the various creatures and stuff. And sort of that's why it was as low as it was for me. I thought all the other movies I had higher than it was just more interesting than this. So, but I still think it's a good movie. I think it definitely deserved like art direction, makeup, cinematography, and all that because it is a beautiful looking movie. And yeah. But Chad, what are your thoughts about Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but each time I've seen it, I've liked it more and more, and it's just one of those movies that just like when going into it, I didn't know really what I was getting into, but I thought it was kind of something about like a dark fairy tale, but I just didn't know how dark, and I didn't know about all of the war aspects, and I keep wanting to call the main character Pam, but that's not it. Before I saw it, I thought that she was Pan and that was her labyrinth. So that's not it. But yeah, to see her going on this like fantastical journey and like trying to connect with other stuff, but it's really just like her, I guess, trying to cope with what's going on around her, which I mean, it's kind of, if you look at like movies like Belfast and stuff like that, when you kind of see war through a child's eyes, it's just really they can't really comprehend what's going on. So to see it like in a different kind of fantastical way is really interesting, and it just gets so dark with the war stuff, but with all the stuff that she's going through, like you like she sees some fairies and all of a sudden the fairies are getting eaten or something like that, and then you have like the dude with the hands and stuff, and it's just like such incredible like Del Toro imagery, and just the rules of it. It's like, go in there but don't eat anything, and then that sequence is so scary. And all of the like the torture stuff, the villain is like one of the most like evil villains I think like ever. And just it's just a masterpiece. This movie is just so incredible. And yeah, just the imagery, just the even the like the visual effects with like the thing at the beginning. What is it, like was a dragonfly or like whatever, like insect or whatever at the beginning, to start the story. It just like feels like it's like perfectly shot. And the ending is one of those that I think is brilliant, because you can watch it as like, I mean, it is like the saddest ending of all time, but when they also bring it into the fantastical, you can kind of see it as like maybe not the saddest ending of all time. Like there's a little bit of a hopeful kind of thing there too. And like, what is it saying, about like the beyond, or, what was really going on or something like that. And I mean, obviously, I'm dancing around because I don't really remember every single aspect of it. But every time I watch it, just love it so much, and so much more because it is just a really great movie. So yeah, it had to be my number one, and I'm glad it ended up number one.
But that does bring us to the end of ranking for this week. But there won't be an episode next week because I'm going to be out of town next week, so I'm not doing an episode. But the next episode will be the week after, though. On it will be November the 2nd. And I am making a slight change from what I actually put on the poll because I always like making my personal list, just looking at like there really isn't. I would have had to stretch a lot to TV specials and stuff, and there really isn't a lot like feature length movies and series. I'm just changing it to classic animated movies from anything from 70s all the way back to the silent era. 70s. There's definitely some that will still come up. There's like there really isn't a lot of like heavy hitters and stuff that and getting people for that and what would be difficult. So classic anime movies is the next episode that's coming in a couple of weeks. But at 12 we've got Mimic. At 11 we've got Blade 2. At 10 we got Pacific Rim. At 9 we got Nightmare Alley. At 8 we got Hellboy. At 7 we got The Devil's Backbone. At 6 we got Kronos, Superwater. At 3 we got Crimson Peak. At 2 we got Pinocchio. And number 1 is Pan's Labyrinth. But Chad, where can people find you online?
Yeah, check me out. I've been on other Rankums. I love doing Rankum. It's really fun. If you like ranking, go over to Cinema Chad, where I rank stuff on my own ranking show. You ranking with me. I have a lot of fun over there doing that. We also are doing reviews of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, my physical media that I have. We're just doing a bunch of stuff over there. I'm trying to like review other stuff like so check out Welcome to Prime Time is my horror channel that I run with my wife and my friend Hunter, and we talk horror movies all the time. And we also did a whole Buffy series, and now we're doing our 31 days of prime time, trying to go through the decades of horror movies. So check that out if you're interested. And then also go over to the Dill Pickle Movie Network, where I do a show called Pictures. Malcolm's been on there. Is it 2 or 3 times you're on there?
I think it's been twice.
Twice. But the first time you were on was like one of our most viewed up versus Shakespeare in Love. But yeah, we've done so many episodes, and we're like I think over the halfway point of watching like every movie nominated for Best Picture, which actually is impossible. I think to watch every single one because I think there's like at least one that's just no longer available anywhere. But that being said, it's still check out my letterbox and all that stuff, and keep ranking shit. Oh wait, I don't say that.
Eric,
you can find me teaching Malcolm how to appreciate Spanish-speaking movies from here on out. I'm gonna give you homework. That's why he's not making a show next week. I'm kidding. I'm not accusing you of anything. There are worse things you can be in the community. I'm not gonna say more. But you can find me almost in every episode of the chat. I'm also there, kind of. Last time we were talking the Conjuring movies, when we talk Alien movies, chat movie is a lot of fun. You should watch the movies with subtitles. I'm kidding. You can find me at Multiplex, at ASAT, at CWT, Lights Out. I'm almost everywhere these guys are. I haven't been invited to picture this, so I'll make an effort to show up there. I don't know when you should. I don't know if you need a Toro movie. I'm probably gonna be there. It's October, so you might find me in a horror episode and any other channel, maybe the movie here network. Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Watch The Devil's Backbone again, please.
Um, but you can find me on Table Jackson's hosting Rankin every week, except next week. Also, find me on my own personal channel, Malcolm the Nerf Media, hosting Spear from the Past. The next episode is still going to be with but one announcement I have made before, but I am adding TNA and Ring of Honor pay-per-views to the reel, so so those are coming up here and there on the review network and stuff. But until next time, that is the end of Rankin for this week, and we'll see you next time.